What do you get when you have Russel Crowe playing a washed-up actor and Niles from Frasier? Well, of course, you get an Exorcist movie. Just, not exactly what I expected. Today, we're talking about The Exorcism. Now, let's go into the good, the bad, and the cringe. Now, let's talk about the good. Now, I'm happy to say that The Exorcism was actually surprisingly way better than I expected. I went into this movie with pretty low expectations, I'm talking like ground floor expectations because, we've got exorcisms movies left and right. We got The Exorcist. We've got The Exorcist 2. We've got The Exorcist of Emily Rose. It's a boring genre. But despite what the IMDb rating, which is 4.6 out of 10 says, I think this movie deserves a lot more credit than that because I went into this again with low expectations, but also kind of with an expectation that I knew exactly what was going to come from each scene and, thought it was going to lay out in a very typical kind of archetype scenario for an Exorcist movie. There's always the possession, the father gets brought in, the father takes over the beast, and then the father dies, and then, a mother's love or a kid's love brings the person back to the light. And while there was maybe a couple elements of that, which we'll get into in a minute, I think that it did defy the expectation in that sense because at the core, this movie is mostly just a redemption story of this troubled actor that's basically struggled with the loss of his wife and dealt with drug and alcohol addiction and kind of letting down his daughter. And I think they kind of even foreshadow to what the film is about because the director that's playing the director in the movie says that this is like an emotional drama wrapped in a horror movie skin, which that's exactly what this is. And I think that it's something worth being applauded. All the actors were good. The direction was really good. Scenery was great. Like the sets that they used were amazing. And overall, the writing just was genuinely good. I felt like a deep sadness kind of for Russel Crowe's character and what his daughter was going through. And it is just made me think that maybe there is hope for the exorcism subgenre in horror movies. Let's talk about the bad. Now, of course, when there's any good, usually with a movie, there is some element of bad. And like I talked about in the previous section, there is a lot of preconceptions of what's going to happen, especially in an Exorcist movie from an audience member going in. And I think while The Exorcism did kind of defy some of those, they also fell in to some of the tropes, with the father kind of being the person that is going to save the day in the end or is going to lead someone to light, of course. And there's an overarching kind of is religion like the thing that's going to save everybody? Are you saying that it's better to be Catholic or Christian or what have you? And it's kind of, a dull, repetitive thing that happens in a lot of horror movies and Exorcist movies that I get pretty bored of. And I think if you're gonna, especially in a genre that's so oversaturated with kind of the same ideas, just in different forms, you have to find something that stands out from the crowd. And a good example is Late Night with the Devil was an Exorcist movie in a sense, but they took a really unique approach and twist to it. And I think it's kind of sparking new fascination with this genre. And I think this movie, again, did do well at that, kind of mostly being a drama-driven film and not so much focused on jump scares which there are a couple, but it's it definitely strayed away from kind of just the typical horror movie elements, and also in some ways I think almost in the way that all the characters function, it kind of did fall into the expected category. And everything up until I'll say the last 20 minutes of the film really took me off guard, really blew me away. But then the last 20 minutes was exactly what I expected. Let's get into the cringe. Now, you know me. I love talking about cringe. My name is Cringe Senpai, however, and if you've seen my other channels, I talk about cringe stuff all the time, and I love exploring the cringe in art and creation. Does that mean it's bad? No, it's just a bias to me of what makes me go, kind of wince when I see it in a film. And whenever it comes to things that involve a heavy-handed, religious element, which of course an Exorcist movie is going to do, it's expected to be to me, I just don't want to constantly jam down my throat. And the problem with a lot of Exorcist movies is that it kind of gets revered as the solution to many things in life, and the backstories are always kind of the same with the main characters. They used to have religion in their life, but now they're a heathen. They don't believe any longer. And that's the whole cause to why something's happening and why they're the sole like catalyst to a possession or whatever it is within the film. And I do think that this film did that a little bit, not too much. Like I'd say the cringe bar is pretty minimal. All the dialogue was pretty well written, pretty well delivered. And I mostly had a pretty good immersive time. So overall, what do I think of The Exorcism? I think so far from the ratings I've seen online there, and we know those can be pretty hit and miss, I do think IMDb has done it a little dirty. 4.6 out of 10 is much lower than I'd rate it. I would definitely probably give The Exorcism like a solid 7 out of 10, especially if I'm considering other Exorcism movies. Like I said, Late Night with the Devil was probably peak when it comes to Exorcist movies, but I think this is like a couple like notches behind it. Again, it's very unique, has its own flavor, a story I haven't seen in Exorcist films before, amazing acting, amazing writing, great sets and music, all the things you need for a good scary movie or even a drama. So definitely check The Exorcism out, and let me know if there's something below I should be checking out in the comments. And until next time, you movie enthusiast, I will see you later.
Bye now.